Hello, St. Thomas family. Once again, you gave me the privilege of attending our diocesan convention, and I was grateful for the opportunity. This virtual convention was very well done, including both live content from our bishop and engaging video reports. The many virtual connections that have been made over the last year have helped us to make new connections, and the hope is that these will continue to be built upon after our pandemic is over. I noted the following highlights from the convention. Regarding our diocesan budget, in spite of a very difficult year due to the pandemic, our diocesan budget is in good shape. Trinity Center provided an informative video highlighting the many changes that have occurred over the year. The Journey Through East Carolina project raised over $216,000 for Trinity Center, and more is coming in and more is needed. Moving forward, Trinity Center will be selling a parcel of maritime forest, which is located to the right of the beach house, and this will be done in order to sustain the center. La Sagrada Familia has acquired funding to build a sanctuary. The video shared at convention about the history of La Sagrada Familia is available on the diocesan website, and I invite you to view it. All the deaneries now have both a clergy and a lay dean, and these folks will be working with the bishop to craft their work ahead. And finally, the bishop in his address spoke about looking at our mission priorities. He asked us to dream, to pay attention to the ways in which we can serve our communities, and the ways in which we can support one another to carry out these ministries. So again, I say thank you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Jeff suggested, matching the new abnormal, that our reports from convention could be on video this year, so here I am. Today we met for the 138th and first virtual convention of the Diocese of East Carolina. Bishop Skirving asked in his address, could the change we are experiencing now propel us into something new? And I think that's an important question. I've been saying something similar, so I know it must be a good idea if he and I agree. But, when we first went to the COVID tide, the idea that meetings could have just been emails and things could be streamlined came up with some frequency. That was applied to convention. And so it became very much a pared down, streamlined affair. And I think that prompts that we should probably rethink convention and its needs in the future. Rob is calling for discernment for diocesan missions, and one that I think should be is how we handle this. When we meet again, and the plan is for Wilmington in 2021, obviously if you have people traveling a long way, there have to be a few more things in place to make the trip sort of worth it. But I think that we showed in this time that a lot of what was done for this convention can be repeated. Reports were sent in advance. Many of the reports were by video. Those could certainly be streamed or just running on a screen at a in-person convention, and would allow us then to have a different sort of interaction. As the service was done, what it reminded me of in Homer's The Iliad, there's a line that they sat apart together. And so this morning on Zoom, we all gathered and we sat apart, but still were part of one thing. And this was really sort of brought together at the end with a video celebration of ministry, which gave us glimpses of other churches. And it reminded me of two highlights that we had in the spring. One was the diocesan morning prayer service that the bishop organized, where we got to see other churches and different ministers. And the other was our own rogation, which of course Jeff edited and put together using multiple churches, and we got to see people's yards and see everything come together. And I think highlights like this were being applauded by Rob in his talk. He was aware of everything that happened and how much everyone worked to make things work. And he talked about he had become very aware of his own cognitive dissonance, that his perspective and his perception of something do not match what others have. And he was suggesting we have to all be very careful and consider how our perspective and perception is important. And of course, during COVID, it's been very hard, as he said, not to focus outside the church, that we get very concerned about our own members. And he talked about the need to look after everything that's going on within. But that made it even easier for me to have my regular pride with St. Thomas. We have continued to serve throughout this with things like Lobster Feast, and especially with the starting of the Blessing Box, and we can obviously thank Becky for that. Now, we don't rest on our laurels, and that was part of the point of this entire convention. Our church and the entire diocese are reminded that we have to consider ways to propel ourselves into something new through all that we're experiencing now, and so we will. And as we always have done and always will do, we'll find ways to work together, even if we're somewhat apart. I appreciate you letting me serve as a representative at convention for you this year virtually, and I look forward to seeing you all in person soon. God bless you.